Hi everyone, in today's lesson we're going to talk about something called sigma notation. A series is the sum of the term of a sequence, we know that. This symbol right here is called sigma and it's used to indicate the sum. So the structure of all sigmas will look like this. You're going to have this E looking thing, and down here you're going to have some value which I'll call x. So x is equal to some constant, we'll call c as a number. And this value here indicates my starting value. And then there's going to be another number on top, which we'll call k, another constant. This will be my ending value. And in the middle, you're going to have something in parentheses, which represents your sequence that you will follow. So let's do an example. So in this problem, I'm asking you to evaluate the sum. So I'm asking you to evaluate the sum from term equals 2 to term equals 5, given that this is your sequence. So all you have to do is say, okay, if this is my pattern for my sequence, I'm going to start with 2 and end with 5. So I'm going to plug in 2 first for everywhere I see an m. So 2 squared minus 1. Then I'm going to plug in 3. 3 squared minus 1. Then I'm going to plug in 4. 4 squared minus 1. And then I'll plug in 5 squared minus 1. Notice 2 is where I started and 5 is where I ended. So you're going to go all the way up from 2 and end at 5. So 2 squared minus 1 is 3. 3 squared minus 1 is 8. 4 squared minus 1 is 15. And 5 squared minus 1 is 24. So these values 3, 8, 15, and 24 represent our sequence. So the sequence is 3, 8, 15, and 24. And the series is 3 plus 8 plus 15 plus 24. And when you add all of those up, that will be the evaluation of this sigma. So we can write a series in this format instead of like this. So go ahead, take a minute and add these up and then hit resume when you're ready for the answer. All right, so you should have gotten 50. So this answer here is 50. It is the sum of the terms from 2 to 5. Sometimes I like to write it like this and I just add them like that and that's my final answer. Let's try another one. All right, so same concept, but you're going to notice now that the letter is changed. The letter is K, and that's okay. I can change whatever letter I want it to be. So this is still my starting value, and this is still my ending value. So I'm going to start at the first term and end at the third term by plugging in 1 for every time I see a K. So 2 minus 1 squared, 2 minus 2 squared, and 2 minus 3 squared. So notice I started with k equals 1 and went up till 3. So I started with 1, 2, and 3, where I plugged in to the k value. Notice how the k changed from 1, 2, and 3. So what we're going to do is simplify this and we'll have our answer. So 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 squared is 0. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So if we add these up, our sum is 2. If you wanted to write the sequence, you could. The sequence would be 1, 0, 1. These values are your sequences. And if you wanted to write the series, it is the sum of those numbers, 1 plus 0 plus 1. And then the sigma, the answer for this sigma notation is 2. All right, let's try a harder one. So if you notice this problem, we've got things that we're plugging into, and we have this 2 in front. So basically what that 2 in front means, it's 2 times this entire sum. So you're going to have to find the sum first and then multiply your answer by 2. So we're starting, remember the bottom number is my starting value. So my starting value is 0 and my ending value is 2. So we have n squared plus 2n. So I'm starting off when n is 0. So n is 0. 0 squared plus 2 times, or 2 to the 0 power. Then I start with n is 1. So 1 squared plus 2 to the first. Then 2. 2 squared plus 2 to the second. And that will be our answer after we sum. So 0 squared is 0, plus 2 to the 0 power is 1. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So this is 0 plus 1, which is 1. Feel free to put these in the calculator if you want. I'm just doing them by hand. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 to the first, which is 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 squared is 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So if we add those up, we get 12. That is our sum. So this whole sum is 12. But we have to multiply it by 2. So 12 times this 2 out front gives me a total answer of 24. All right, let's try one more. Okay, so same concept. Now we have n. So we're going to start from n is 1 to n is 5. So it's 10 plus this sum. So you have to remember, you do the sum first, but now this time at the end, we're going to add this 10 to it. So we're going to start with our pattern sequence, n to the third minus 1. We start with n is 1. So 1 to the third minus 1, 2 to the third minus 1, 3 to the third minus 1, 4 to the third minus 1, and 5 to the third minus 1. So let's go ahead and add those up. So the first one is 0. 2 to the third minus 1 is 7. 26, 63, and 124. Feel free again to type those into the calculator if you need to, but go ahead and sum them and then hit resume when you're ready for the answer. All right, so I got 220. So this entire sum adds up to 220, and then we have to add it to the 10 that's in front, and that gives me 230. Awesome. Okay, there is a way that you can check your answers. So what I'd like to show you is how to do this in the calculator. So you want to hit math, and option 0 should say sigma or summation. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a summation. You're going to have a box equals box, something in parentheses, and then a box here. So since we've used letters like K and N and M, our calculator usually we're going to use X. So it doesn't matter what letter is given, just use X. So X equals, and then you can go ahead and put your number here and put your number here, and then make sure you put your sequence here and you use X's. So if we look at that first example that we did, so example number 1 was to find the sum of m equals 2 to 5 of m squared minus 1. That was our first problem. So how you're just going to type this into the calculator is you'll hit math and 0 to get the sum. And instead of m, you're just going to put x. So you'll put x equals 2 to 5. And in here, you'll just put x squared minus 1. And you should get your answer of 50. If you have any questions on this, please let us know. But that is a nice way to check your answers. All right, that's it for today. Have a good night.